This is a sweet little blues jam by Kirk Fletcher. It's in the key of B flat, so we can think B flat minor pentatonic, and we'll be adding in that major third. So let's play the video all the way through and then we'll start breaking it down. Very nice indeed. So B flat minor pentatonic, and we can think adding in this major third. So it's based on a 12-bar blues. So our one chord is B flat 7, and the 4 chord we can think of E flat 9 or E flat 7, and then the 5 chord F7 or F9. So this little jam, it incorporates some blues licks and some rhythm and chords. Now the first thing I want to go over, because it appears a few times in this jam, is what Kirk does for the 1 chord. And he grips it with his thumb over the top, so you can think of this chord, but use his thumb. Now if your thumb won't go over the top, it doesn't matter. You can just, to start with, you can bar the G and the B and the high E strings with your first finger, and hammering into that major third with your middle finger. And then after that hammer, we get our ring finger and we bar the G and the B string on the 6th fret. And that's like sort of highlighting you know, your 4 chord. That's like going to the E flat major. But sometimes Kirk grabs the root note on the low E on the 6th fret with his thumb. You don't have to do this, but it's good to get in if you can. So the jam starts, so he does that just for the 1 chord every time. So it appears, I think, 3 or 4 times. So we start off with a little lick. So like I said, we're in B flat minor pentatonic, box 1. We can think of that major third. So the first lick, we bend up on the 8th fret of the G string. We're going to bend up a half step. That's going into the blues note. And then on the same string we go back to the 6th fret with our first finger, then back to the 8th, and then we stack. Come over, we grab the 8th fret with the D, then back to the 6th fret, this is our minor third of the tonic, and then back to the root with some vibrato. That's the first lick. Really slowly, push up on the 8th fret, then back to the 6th fret with our first finger, and then we do a stack, G string, D string on the 8th fret, and back to that minor third, 6th fret with our first finger, and then the root, and we give it some vibrato, so that's the 8th fret of the D. And then he puts in that little move for the 1 chord. That's covering the 1, that's covering the B flat. And these little jams are great, you know, if you just want to pick up the guitar and play something unaccompanied, because you're playing like rhythm and leads at the same time, and it's a really good exercise to start mixing in bits of rhythm and licks, and it sounds cool. And I've got the tabs for this as well. I've tabbed it out, the handwritten, but you'll get the gist. So then we can think about moving to the 4 chord. So let's go let's watch the video, and what I'll do, we'll watch each lick and then I'll break it down lick by lick. So that was the first lick. Now you can think going to the 4 chord. Okay. So he walks up on the A string on the 8th fret. We go 8 to 10, so we go 8, 9, 10. And then we grab the 8th fret of the D with some vibrato. So what have we done there? So you can think of this E flat major A form bar chord, and then you've got the inversion, or you're coming out of the G shape, so it's the first inversion. So the major third is there on the 10th fret of the A string. So we're walking into that inversion. There's the chord. So we got 8, 9, 10 on the A. Then back to the major third, 10th fret of the A. So we've gone 8, 9, 10, vibrato on the 8th fret of the D. Back to the major third, and then we get the D and the G string on the 8th fret, and that's you've pretty much played down that triad for E flat, major third, and if we're thinking of the 4 chord, it'd be the major third, it'd be the 5th, and the root. From the beginning. And then we've got a cool lick. So he does another lick now in the box 1 minor pentatonic, followed by that move we did for the 1 chord. And you can, maybe rewind this video and watch this lick a few times, because he does do it pretty quick, but I'll go over it really slowly. So with his first finger now, he pushes up this G string 8th fret. I'm going to break this lick down into a few little different parts. The first move is pushing that G string 8th fret up a half step. Back down, we play it. Then we drop back to the 6th fret, still on the G string, that's our minor third. And then we come back and we play the 8th fret of the G. And then we stack, play the 8th fret of the D. Back to the 6th fret. And that's the first part of this lick. So it's up, 8th fret, little half step bend, back down, play the 8th fret, back to the 6th, then over with our ring finger, back to the 8th fret, and we stack, play the 8th fret of the D. Then we're going to do the next part of the lick. What do we do there? We push up the 8th fret now with our ring finger, and we do like a classic blues lick in box 1. Push that up a whole step, then 6 and 6 on the B and the high E, pull off 9 to the 6, and then we come up, we grab the 8th fret again on the G, slide up to the blues note, and then we do a pull off. We slide up to that blues note, come back, and we do a pull off 8 to 6. Really slow. Then we do a triple stack on the 8th, so we go D, G, and back to the D. And you want to have your pick in between the D and the G strings rather than wrapping around the outside. Then we come back to the 6th fret with our first finger, minor third. Then D string, 8-6, pull off. Grab the 8th fret of the A, and then 8th fret, another stack, 8th fret of the D, vibrato, that's on our root. And then we can do that cool move for the 1 chord. So that whole lick. So what you should do first, if you're not really familiar with this lick for the 1 chord, is learn that first on its own. Then you can just like put that in the middle of everything. Let's watch that lick again, and we'll go over it slow. From the 4 chord. Now we're going to go to the 5 chord. So he's on this root. So from finishing the last lick, we go back to the root. So it's 8th fret of the D string. Then we're going to go over to the 6th fret on the G, 8th fret of the G, then we're going to come over to the 6th fret of the B string. We're going to give this, when we go to the 6th fret here on the G, we're going to give it a bit of a tweak. Then we're going to grab the 6th fret of the B, and then we slide from the 8th fret of the G to the 10th fret of the G, and that takes us right into the root of our 5 chord. So with all these licks, we're highlighting the 1, the 4 and the 5 chord. And then we come down from, you can think of this 9th chord that we're going to be targeting on the 8th fret. This would be our F9, but it comes from half a step above it. But Kirk's playing, instead of playing the root on the A string with his middle finger, he's playing the root, he's playing the bass on the low E, and he's muting the A, and it gives it like sort of a more richer, fuller sound. You know, that's a T-Bone Walker move. And then walks down to the 4 chord, which would be the same move chromatically down to the 6th fret. And then he finishes it off with a little lick, grabs onto the B string on the 6th fret, and then pushes up the 9th fret of the high E, a whole step, big bend, and when it's up there, picks again, back down, and then gives it a little bit of a, you know, a half step bend, a quarter step bend, a tweak. And then we're going to stack high E, B string on the 6th fret, And then we're going to come over with our ring finger and stack G and D on the 8th fret, and then push up on that 6th fret, minor third, back up, quarter step, pushing towards that major third. And then we do a classic turnaround. Let's just rewind this a bit. So from that last lick, so that turnaround, we're going to put our pinky. I think Kirk uses his 3rd finger here, but I use my pinky. I've got smaller hands. So pinky is going to be on the root of the tonic. So that's 6th fret of the high E, and that's going to stay there. So now we're going to go ring finger on the 6th fret of the D, and this whole lick is just played on the D and the high E. So we play D string, high E, back to the D, and then we walk down and repeat. So the pinky stays where it is. And you can mix it up. Using your picking your fingers. And then a B flat 9, a half step above to the B flat 9. So I'm going to play through the whole thing really slowly. Let's listen to Kirk one more time. I'll just go through it one more time for you, nice and slow. Have some fun with that. If you've got any questions, just pop it in the comments below. If you want the tabs, just again leave a message below and then we'll arrange that for you. Cheers, I'll see you tomorrow.